Hi, I'm Heyzeus, and this video is about bugged and glitched skins in CSGO. Now, bugged and glitched skins are an absolute favourite of scammers. They're very keen to tell you how dangerous it is and how you need to make sure your items are safe by downloading their browser extension. Here's someone talking about it all the way back in 2015, by the way. So, it's a long-standing method of fleecing the vulnerable, but these items actually do exist, and not only are they completely safe, they're generally worth quite a bit of money. Now, granted, there's only like 6 of these items in existence and they're all in the inventories of collectors, so good luck ever actually getting them, but hopefully this video can provide a nice list of all these things in one place. Now, bugged and glitched skins, as I view them, come in one of two forms. Things that Valve screwed up due to being incompetent, and things that came from quirks in the system. And in this former category, so the incompetence category, we have a bunch of skins where Valve managed to muck up the texture files, and the biggest case of this happening was with the glove case. Now, the weapons themselves came out fine, there was no issue with them. Here's the Dragonfire, for example. It looks good, right? But this is what its thumbnail looked like when the skin was first released, and I remember what I thought when I saw that. I thought that was the shittiest looking covert skin Valve had ever released, and it wasn't just the Dragonfire. A bunch of skins in this case had messed up thumbnails. Here's the sexy looking USPS Cyrex, for example. Its thumb is completely fucked, and here's the Royal Consort. Once again, the thumbnail is utterly screwed up. Now, according to Reddit, the underlying problem was pretty simple. In fact, someone might just have forgotten to click a box, which would make sense given Valve was able to fix it within 3 days. I think that's how long it takes to click a box in Valve time, but it does still count as a bug, you know. If you're a games dev, you've got to remember to tick those boxes. But at least it didn't affect the skins in game, right? That's the important thing. Well, not so with this next bug, because when the Org Fleet Flock was released as part of the Chroma 3 case, it was released with half its texture files missing. Apparently this had something to do with the creator not saving something in the right format. I'm sure Valve could have checked it, but I guess they didn't, although they did fix it fairly quickly. But in fairness to Valve, they only forgot half the texture file. The other half was there just fine, which is a lot better than the time they completely forgot the texture file for the Huntsman Knife Ultraviolet. Yeah, it's not meant to look like that, it's meant to look like this. Now, this bug stemmed from the fact that the Huntsman Knife Ultraviolet had a unique texture file. Most ultraviolet knives just share the same one, but this one needed its own one. And because it's fairly easy to fix this problem, you just need to add the missing texture file, it didn't take long for them to fix it, and because it's on a knife, not many people saw it. Unfortunately for Valve though, one of those not many people was McSkillet, who made a video about it that 500,000 people watched. But you know what? I'm pretty sure no one's uninstalled over this, so no harm done, I guess. Although, there is one other weird bug like this I've found. It turns out, every single M4A4 skin in the game has missing textures right here under the safety switch on the gun because of an occlusion bug on the model. Literally every single one. They're all affected by this, and for some reason Valve just hasn't bothered fixing it. Although given basically no one would actually notice it in game, it'd probably be a waste of development time. Now, I'm being a bit unfair here calling Valve incompetent. For one, I've worked with texture files before and made exactly the same mistake, so I'm really a big fat fucking hypocrite, but that rounds out this group of glitches, and I want to move on to the next set, the quirks. So, first of all, we have glitched floats, and it's worth noting that these floats aren't actually glitched in the traditional sense of the word. The system is actually working exactly as it should. It's just producing a weird looking outcome, and the most famous example of this is the .059 Nova Predator, which is owned by the million sub Russian YouTuber Priliv, by the way. So this is it in game. Now, this skin is weird because the Predator is meant to have a minimum float of 0.06, so this float value shouldn't be possible, and this skin has certainly gotten a fair bit of attention over the years because of this. Now, to explain this, I'm going to turn to an excellent guide to trade-ups written by a guy called Cobalt X, which explains exactly why this skin exists, and it's got to do with the way that floats are calculated. You see, floats are generated using this thing called IEEE 754 standard, which essentially converts a binary value into a decimal one, but the number of binary values around is limited. There's still over 2 billion possible binary values, but that's a lot less than the number of decimal values possible under this system. So only a limited number of decimal values for floats can actually occur, occurring at regular intervals. And this is where the problem starts, because a float of 0.060 repeater isn't actually possible in the game. Instead, it has to be rounded up or down to one of these two values, because that's what's available in the binary. And because this Nova Predator that was dropped had a float value so ridiculously close to 0.060 repeater, it was actually rounded down to the 0.0599 value, because it was actually closer to it than the nearest value above 0.06. So this float is still technically at or above 0.06, it's just that the most accurate value that the game can depict to show it is below 0.06. So it's internally consistent, even if it is externally confusing. Although, interestingly enough, 0.06 isn't the only spot this type of thing can occur. It can also occur around 0.38, which is the threshold of well-worn and field-tested. The skins can come out as well-worn, even though their float value appears to be less than 0.38. Although this obviously doesn't stand out quite as much because they're not, seemingly impossible float values, and you can actually trade up for them, which I'll probably try on this channel one day. Now, the next type of glitch skin is a souvenir R8 Revolver Bone Mesh. Now, this skin is from the Bank Collection, and that is a little bit odd because there are no souvenir bank skins. They've never been included in souvenir packages, ever. So, what the fuck is this thing doing here, Valve? So there's 4 of these things in existence. As far as the database I'm using goes anyway, maybe there's some more in private inventories that haven't been registered, and although I wasn't able to find any footage of one being unboxed, everyone seems to agree that these things come from the DreamHack Winter 2013 souvenir packages. The theory is that when Valve added this weapon during the Revolver update in December 2015, they accidentally added this skin to the drop pool for the DreamHack Winter 2013 souvenir packages, probably due to some sort of quirk in their internal systems, although it's not really possible to know completely for sure. All we do know for certain is that one way or another, this skin snuck its way into the game. And that brings us to the final skin, which is sometimes called the Steam Support Karambit. Now, this skin is a bit enigmatic because it was picked up by a private collector some time ago and seems to be lost forever in a private inventory, according to McSkillet himself actually, and the people I spoke to since said the situation hasn't changed at all. And unfortunately, there also doesn't seem to be an inspect link for this skin available, as far as I could tell anyway. Hit me up if you do happen to have it. Maybe it's actually well known and I'm just a dummy who couldn't find it. But anyway, the weirdness of this skin isn't obvious at first glance, but you can see the differences quite easily in this comparison. The glitch skin is on the right, and as you can see, it doesn't have the purple outline and it doesn't have the star. And there's another weird feature on top of that. This skin's float value is 0, and I mean 0. Its float value is 0.000 repeater. I left it out of my list of lowest floats ever because I don't consider it a legitimate example of a real low float. It's artificially set to 0, but if you want to ignore that, this literally is the lowest float skin in existence, and its origin seems to stem from Steam support replacing someone's scammed item. Back in the day, Steam would actually do this, but they worked out people are using it to dupe items, so they had to stop. And according to one of the owners, I believe an ex-owner at this point who was interviewed about this skin, the skin was created when Steam support recreated a scanned vanilla Karambit in late 2013. Clearly, Steam support must have messed up when they did it, creating this glitch skin. Obviously, it's hard to completely verify this story, but every single account I've heard of how it came to exist is the same. So I think that's pretty good evidence this is an accurate account of how it came about. Now, exactly who the original owner was seems to have been lost to history. The skin was sold 3 times on the Steam community market during late 2013 and early 2014 before ending up on the CSGO trade subreddit for 1,500 keys. And there was some skepticism about that price back then, but one way or another, it was sold and then sold again until eventually it ended up in the inventory of this guy who is a super high-end collector and 100% not a people person and keeps his inventory permanently on private, which is why there's not really any chance we'll ever get to see it again. So hopefully this video can provide another decent record of this skin's existence, because frankly we're down to a couple of screenshots at this point, and it'd be a pity if we lost those, so hopefully I've made that a bit harder. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. A huge thank you to Quaxy, who gave me a lot of help researching this, which made getting this out a whole lot easier. It was really appreciated. Otherwise though, I think we can wrap things up. So if you enjoyed this vid, please like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Heyzeus. Thanks for watching. See ya.